طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We'll do the questions now, and perhaps after Salat al-Isha we'll do the class of Lu'lu wal Marjan. We got a late start with our after Maghrib reminder, let alone the quickly or fast, the times are changing rapidly. So the class sooner or later, bidnillahi ta'ala, if we're still alive, will be turned into after Isha, 100%. Let alone those from the disciples, we won't mention names. Allah loves to hide things, who come late. Even though they gave their word that they will come early. There's a few brothers I can name, but I'm not going to mention names because of the Quranic principle. I'm coming early, Sheikh, and they come 30 minutes after the Salah. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Sorry, any other questions? Any questions from the brothers? Father Muzammil. Somebody please remind him, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. If they could be kind enough to lower their voices while we, Jazakumullah khairan. Muzammil, tafaddal. Right, Jazakallah khairan, good question. Many have asked this question before. Is there a restriction with regards to lewd language between husband and wife? Some scholars say that which is said between the husband and wife is lawful. It's hidden, it's secret, it's contained. It isn't a means of cursing and slandering, swearing, so on and so forth. It's in the moment, that's halal. It stays as halal. And of course, it's best to avoid. There are some narrations from some of the Sahaba, whether you realize it or not, such as Abdullah bin Mas'ud. He commented upon the hadith of Abdullah bin Abbas, لو أن أحدكم إذا أتى أهله, that when a man wishes to go to his wife, and he says, Allahumma, to the end of the dua, some have narrated, Ibn Mas'ud and others have said, that he mentions Allah's name at the time of climax. At the time of climax, for further protection and blessing for the child if the wife is going to conceive. The moral of the story from this narration is, he's saying even in that act, you still what? Aywa. So it's best to avoid for sure. But for argument's sake, and others may say, another way of looking at the ruling to get an accurate ruling is a person isn't held responsible at that time, right? A stressful situation, extreme anger, it's reality, yani. It's a reality, right? That's real. And the world would be a better place, no doubt, if people understood the nature and the danger of the relation between man and woman, and how it's easy for a person to what? Lose control. Whether you mean that literally or, it's a reality. You lose control of your desires, or you have a Planned Parenthood, I don't want to get pregnant, coitus interruptus, and the next thing you know, man is what? Daif, right? A crime of passion. Perfect example. I'm in the legal system. It's certain pardons that are given what? Because of passion. So it's a reality. Wallahu alam. Fadal. What is the best method for gathering all the chains for hadith? ما هو أفضل طريق لجمع طرق الحديث الواحد؟ عليك بعلم تخريج. علم تخريج is the backbone of علم الحديث, the vertebrae. الحديث إن لم تجمع طرقه لم يتبين لك خطأه. وقديما قالوا إذا أردت أن يصح لك حديثك فاضرب بعضه ببعض. وأقوال الأئمة وأقوال السلف في ضرورة جمع طرق والنظر فيها والمقارنة كثيرة جدا معلومة. إني لا أكتب الحديث من 20 وجها. well known statements of the Imams with regards to the necessity. Listen to the words. The necessity, the importance and the virtue of gathering and compiling all of the hadiths. So as a beginner in ilm al-hadith, a beginner in takhrij, one of the most basic books is not Tuhfat al-Ashraf, but a little known secret, Jami' al-Tirmidhi, rahimahullah ta'ala. وهو يعتبر رائد علم التخريج بقوله وفي الباب عن فلان وفلان وعلان. هذا اللطيفة أخذناها عن مشايخنا في المدينة. الترمذي رحمه الله تعالى من أول من تكلم في علم التخريج، وأول من أسس هذا العلم الشريف. Tirmidhi in his book, he says, after he quotes one hadith, and it's also narrated by Fulan, and this one, and this companion, that, telling you that there are other hadiths on the same topic, exact wording or similar, narrated by other companions. Those other narrations of those companions could be more authentic, could be equally authentic, or could be less authentic, but there are other narrations. So that is giving you the mindset is that you can never ever suffice yourself with just one hadith, with one chain of narration, let alone with the different isnads within one book, whether it be Bukhari or Muslim, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, right? So as a beginner in ilm al-hadith, and you're a little more than just a beginner, you study the basics of mustalah, nukhbat fikr, etc., and you when you get into hands-on ilm al-hadith, then it's very important for you to take a good grasp of kutub al-sitta and maximizing your benefit of kutub al-sitta. Before you go outside of kutub al-sitta, take everything kutub al-sitta has to offer. Kutub al-sitta is going to teach you about mustalah. Kutub al-sitta is going to teach you about takhrij, ilal, al-ikhtilafat al-ruwat, Sunan al-Nasa'i, Muqaddimat Muslim, وهكذا. All right, so kutub al-sitta are extremely important. So this is the foundation. After this, or along with it, you're going to learn and read ilm al-takhrij. And one of the best ways of learning ilm al-takhrij is reading kutub al-takhrij. And one of the greatest books of takhrij is Nasb al-Raya by Zayla'i, rahimahullah ta'ala. Nasb al-Raya في تخريج أحاديث الهداية وتلخيصه الذي هو الدراية. كذلك كتب الشيخ الألباني رحمه الله تستفيد منها. You benefit from those works and how the Sheikh does takhrij as a beginner, getting your feet wet. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And of course, Tuhfat al-Ashraf fi ma'rifat al-atraf lil-Mizzi. Okay, specifically pertaining to Kutub al-Sitta, and in most cases, al-Mizzi, any hadith mentioned with the taraf, the beginning of the hadith, he's going to tell you where it's collected in Kutub al-Sitta wa mulhaqat al-Kutub al-Sitta. كذا أدب المفرد مثلا، رفع اليدين مثلا، مراسيل أبي داود مثلا. والله تعالى أعلم وهو الموفق. May Allah give you success in your journey. Ameen.
What does it mean to do something for the sake of Allah? Since Allah doesn't benefit from our deeds, aren't we doing it for the sake of ourselves so we get rewarded?
طيب. What does it mean doing something for the sake of Allah? If we do something, it's a deed of ours, aren't we benefiting from it? So on and so forth. Well, first and foremost, before we answer the question, we have to simplify things. We have to avoid unnecessary complication of things. Simplifying things, keeping them simple, and if they aren't so simple, then making them simple. But it is already simple for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether that means li'ala'i kalimatillah, the path of Allah, fighting, jihad fi sabilillah, the sake of Allah, an endowment, a water fountain that is free. Everyone can drink from it. Man, woman, child, Muslim, it's waqf, sabil. For the sake of Allah, da'wah, calling people to Islam, calling people to the sunnah, reminding people of Allah. For the sake of Allah, right? I give you a gift and I'm not charging you, I don't want nothing in return. Bismillah, it's a gift. I give it for the face of Allah, for the sake of Allah. Sincerely. But of course, the human being by nature is a creature of greed and selfishness, by nature. And you can fight your nature, you can go against your nature, but it's going to be what? Somehow, some way in which, the nafs has its portion. So therefore, as a friend, I give it to you as a friend. Take some tea. I want you to enjoy it and benefit from it. But of course, I want you to enjoy the tea. Of course, it makes me feel good that the tea tastes good. Of course, I'm happy that you came to my house and enjoyed the food. Of course. And of course, it's only basic human decency if I'm stuck on the side of the road, hey, Ma'moon, Can you come get me? Basic decency. You don't owe me anything. But it's basic decency. I'm a friend, I'm a brother. But at the time in which I gave him the food or I gave him a cup of tea, he didn't owe me anything. So it's very possible. Fighting in a lost cause. Does it not feel good to win? Of course. Who wants to lose? Who wants to be injured, wounded, martyred, and lose the battle? Of course. Victory. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. That's reality. And there are going to be spoils, captives. There's so many benefits that come from that. But that's not why I'm fighting. Right? Ilm. Does ilm bring you status? Of course. Does ilm bring you wealth and finance? No doubt about it. Inna haqqa ma akhadtum alayhi ajran. Kitab Allah. The Prophet. He don't even need you to speak about it. In your sheikh in this country, the Prophet spoke about it. The thing that you deserve most to get money for is Allah's book. But that's not your intention. I give the Quran in class whether I'm paid or not. All right? So don't overcomplicate things. Don't complicate things. Wallahu alam.
Bronx, New York. I heard an imam say that the Prophet ﷺ celebrated his day of birth based on the hadith where he mentioned why he likes to fast on Monday. Is that accurate or a stretch?
Did the Prophet ﷺ celebrate his birthday? When he said that was the day in which the Quran was revealed to me, the day in which I was born, so on and so forth. Is that accurate or is that a stretch? Well, I think the answer is clear. And let's be clear in our words now. If you're going to celebrate the Prophet's birthday, for argument's sake, let the celebration of the Prophet's birthday be a day or night in which you're reading the seerah, benefiting from the seerah, talking about the seerah, sending prayers upon the Prophet ﷺ. For argument's sake, prayer, worship, for argument's sake, I'm not saying that's lawful, but for argument's sake, versus this cake, this sweet, this tea, this lamb, this dancing, this singing, this twirling, this spinning, this going into a trance, and I got a tambourine and I'm shaking and for argument's sake. So did the Prophet ﷺ dance, sing, twirl, fly, float on his birthday? No, he didn't. Did the Prophet have a special suite? And there are hadiths. There are hadiths about the Prophet ﷺ's fondness of sweet things. Several hadiths. Whether it was a drink, honey with water, whether it was dates, the Prophet ﷺ was fond of the fresh dates. When they call it the first flush, when it first blossoms in springs, he would pick it. The Sahaba, the children, they would get the hadiths regarding that. So, do we have hadiths in which the Prophet had special sweets on his birthday? Yes or no? Prophet sang and danced on his birthday? Yes or no? I'm doing a plain, simple answer. Not Imam Fulan. I get it, Ibn Abdul Wahhab is this, but that's not my question. Do we have hadiths that the Prophet did that on his birthday? If we do, then we can have a bigger argument. And if not, the answer is clear. So most people who claim to celebrate the Prophet's birthday, even though that's a problem in itself, what are they celebrating and how are they celebrating it? And the same applies to your individual birthday. Is it permissible for a person to celebrate his birthday? We go out, we drink, we have fun, we laugh, we joke, we fill our bellies, flirt with girls, pick up girls, blah, 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 blah. Versus, I appreciate the day in which Allah gave me life. I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and it's a day closer to the grave. So this is my celebration of my birthday. So just stop and think about that, right? And then I think it's pretty clear what's a stretch and what's accurate. And then let's go after the Prophet ﷺ. Who was his best friend? Who's the Prophet's best friend? Without any question. There's no question about that. The Shia who say they were munafiqs, they all can acknowledge that he was the what? The closest to the Prophet. That's a fact. Everybody's going to say that. Whether you believe it inwardly or outwardly, he was the closest to him. The Prophet ﷺ's best friend was Abu Bakr. So if anybody's going to celebrate a man's birthday for religious reasons, spiritual reasons, personal reasons, who would it be? It will be my what? That's my man. That's my right hand. If there's anybody that's going to be doing this, it's going to be who? Fulan. That's always whooping 24/7. So why are there no narrations that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu religiously, systematically celebrated the Prophet's birthday? Umar. And the list goes on and on and on. So saying that the Prophet's birthday is to be celebrated and commemorated because of this scholar and that scholar, based off the hadith, is no question extremely scholastically inaccurate. Scholastic, this is the word, scholastically inaccurate. Wallahu ta'ala alam. And of course, as we said before and we'll say again, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab was not the first scholar to say that you can't or shouldn't celebrate the Prophet's birthday. So only an ignorant fool, my words, I quote, an ignorant fool who has hatred in his heart would say that one who says celebrating the Prophet's birthday is haram is a Wahhabi. There's scholars who came hundreds of years before Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab was even thought of and clearly claimed and said that it was a what? A bid'ah, which it is. And if you look at the history of those who started the Prophet's birthday and celebrating it and turned into a festive celebration, you'll find it wasn't the Salaf. It wasn't Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, or Ali, or Hassan, or Hussein. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Khair, inshallah. I'll stop here. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabina wa imamina Muhammad. Wa iyyakum.